the whole process took about 2 years, but gratefully uh, the body of work was, Trinity was able to produce a book out of it. So,
Mm.
and we just recently had the book launch celebration party at Rosella's last Thursday, and it was a great event. It was a great turnout. It was really unexpected, unbelievable turnout, but I embraced it, and it's one of those moments that you want to relive over and over
Yeah,
again in your
I
life
see your
because
face right now. I
it's
see.
crazy, dude. It was so crazy.
All right, podcast and stuff. We just started. Who am I here with today?
My name is Michael Cirlos, and I am a photographer in downtown San Antonio.
Yeah. Who is Michael Cirlos?
Well, Michael Cirlos is a street photographer, but also a marketing photographer. At the end of the day, Michael Cirlos is a visual storyteller.
Damn, that sounds like so artsy. But I remember like when I first met you, you were kind of doing it like part-time. So by now, yeah, it's full-time now, right? It's full-time. Like just photography as a whole, right? It's full-time, right?
It
Currently for you?
is. Yeah, it
So that was
is.
cool seeing you do that transition. Like how'd you make that happen?
Well, I think, hard work is the number one. You have to work hard and you have to stay dedicated to it. You have to stay committed. There's going to be lots of ups and downs. You're going to get bogged down. You're not going to want to do anything some days, but you just need to stay with it. And it's okay to have those days. Those days keep you going. They keep you moving forward. And as long as you can maintain that mentality, you're going to be all right.
I think around that same time when I added you on the Instagram, you showed me the Humans of SA, which was and you told me where you got the idea from the New York guy.
Mm-hmm.
But then like lately when the book came out, it actually surprised me because as you got busy making working here, I feel like the post kind of stopped. So I didn't even see that coming, and I was like, oh man, he got a book coming. So like were you just kind of like maybe saving it for the book or like?
Well, the book was a 2-year process.
Got you.
And as I started working more as a photographer.
And what was the name of the book, by the way?
Humans of San Antonio.
Okay.
So, shout out to Trinity University for wanting to put together a book, Humans of San Antonio, which is the photographic testament to downtown San Antonio. It's a book that takes place from 2012 to 2016. And these were all stories that were collected. I would want to say 90% of these stories were collected in the downtown area. And as I was slowly transitioning to, first of all, becoming a freelance photographer and then becoming a full-time photographer, my time with the project started to decrease. And that was just the natural course of the project. And for me, because, it was always my dream to become like a full-time working photographer. And, as much as I miss photographing downtown, the streets of downtown San Antonio, I find myself remembering, all of the hard work and dedication that it took to sort of get where I am today. And, I still have those desires to go downtown and photograph and interview people. I miss doing that a lot, but at the same time, I pretty much get to do that every day for work. So it really has been a blessing, man. And wouldn't trade it for anything.
Did you say that it came from Trinity somewhat, or they supported it, or?
Well, no, the Humans of San Antonio project was a concept that derived from the Humans of New York project, which is extremely popular around the world. And in fact, there are subchapters of the Humans of New York project in just about every major city in the world. And so it really is an honor for San Antonio, for the Humans of San Antonio project to be published, because there are actually only a few books, probably less than a handful of Humans of books circulating right now around the world. And San Antonio gets to be part of that very first circulation of projects.
So that's not just your thing. That's also like part of that whole bigger Humans of.
Yes, the Humans of San Antonio, is a project that I started, but technically, it's not part of a corporation or anything like that. It's more of an artistic endeavor that people have taken on for themselves for their respective cities.
So take me back then, like all the way back. When do you first decide, hey, I want to be a photographer?
Oh man, it was sort of kind of spur of the moment. I didn't take photography classes in high school or in college or anything like that. I was living abroad at the time, and I had some friends that were into photography and videography.
Where
at? In Thailand. I did a 2-year study abroad in Thailand in college, and it was a great experience. And met some really interesting people that were into the arts. And it was, I had a camera. I had a little pocket camera that I took with me. I didn't have a cell phone while I lived abroad, and I'd photograph things with my pocket camera, and that I found pleasure doing that. But I didn't think that it would be something that I would pursue professionally until I came back to San Antonio. And I was chatting one night with a friend. We were just having some drinks over at the Flying Saucer, actually, just about San Antonio in general and how it compares to other cities that we visited and lived in. And while we were having that conversation, she was on her phone and she discovered Humans of New York, and she shared that with me. And she said, if you want to get people and talking about their cities, talking about themselves, and creating an online community for people to become civically engaged, this would be a project that probably could happen and be successful in a city like San Antonio. And it made a lot of sense to me. I was already living downtown. I was working as a counselor. I was already working very closely with the community. All it took for me was to get on my bicycle and to ride downtown from work during my lunch break or after work or on the weekends, and document, people's stories, take pictures with my camera, and record people's stories. And so slowly but surely, the Facebook blog became popular. After the first year or so, the audience started to build, and it sort of just kind of went from there. It was a natural evolution that took place, and through that process, I could say that I, became a photographer. I'm a self-taught photographer. It took me a long time to get an idea of the art form, but also, this was something that I really wanted to do. So I spent a lot of time and effort into educating myself and making sure that I knew what it was that I was doing. At some point, you don't know that, everybody's a beginner at first. Everybody starts off from the bottom, and you just kind of work your way up, and then hopefully one day, something becomes of your work. And so I'm just really, grateful that the Humans of San Antonio project became a body of work that an institution was willing to publish. And now that it's published, it's like, wow, I can't believe all that happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about it.
I was surprised. So it seems also that project is responsible for even turning you into a photographer. Like, based on what you just said, I was like, oh, I didn't know that was the origin story too. I was like, Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it really just kind of happened, you know, and life takes you in directions. Sometimes you don't really know, you just kind of go with the flow, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, you know, but it was, you know, it was a, you know, I think for those who are looking to figure out what it is that they want to do with their lives, for those who are looking to figure out what their passion is, I think it's very important to try new things.
Yeah.
You know, you try new things, see how you feel about it. If it's vibing with you, go for it. You know, go for that plunge. But you really have to go for it. It can't be something that you just do for like a year. You have to be really committed to it, and basically cut out everything else from your life that is not positive or not helping you get to where you need to be with what it is that you become, you know, really, really interested in.
You mentioned like Trinity before. So is how does it get published? Is that how it got published then? Or like how does it become a book? I mean, from your project to a book?
Well, you know, the process for me was pretty simple. You know, there was an opportunity for the project to become a book. And so it was just a matter of sending over the images and stories.
But I mean, like, did they just hear about it and they were like, "Hey, man, this be cool if we made it into a book," or like?
Yeah, well, Trinity's, you know, had their eye on the Humans of San Antonio project. They knew about it through social media.
Okay.
And I decided to send them an email, and I was like, hey, you know, I have this project that I've been working on for a number of years. This is the kind of following that it gained. These are the sort of comments and the feedback and publicity, local media and publicity that came about from doing this project. And so I sent over all the materials, you know, and had a couple of discussions, and you know, the whole process took about 2 years. But you know, gratefully the body of work was, you know, Trinity was able to produce a book out of it. So and we just recently had the book launch celebration party at Rosella's last Thursday, and it was a great event. It was a great turnout. You know, it was really unexpected, unbelievable turnout. But you know, I embraced it, and you know, it's one of those moments that you want to relive over and over again in your life.
I see your face right now.
It's crazy, dude. It was so crazy. Like, it was one of those euphoric experiences for me, for sure. One of a kind. You know, it's really hard to describe the feelings and the emotions that I had over at the book launch party.
And the book signing too. I saw that video too.
Yeah, I was there, you know, signing books. You know, my hand got tired at the end of the day. My hand was really tired, but it was great to see the family come out, friends come out. Hey, you know, and a lot of people who are in the book showed up to the party, and so it was a really big celebration. You know, I actually photographed over 1,000 people, posted about 800 on Facebook, and out of the 800, 200 or so were selected for the book. But you know, man, it was definitely a party and a great time, and you know, I hope to keep it going too. You know, I do have a couple of book signings. One is this Saturday at Felice Modern, 11 o'clock a.m. I'll be there for a few hours, just chit-chatting with people, getting to know people, and if they happen to buy a book, you know, I can sign that for them. And then, you know, we'll do another book signing at the Pearl Brewery at the Twig bookstore right there. I think it's across from Local Coffee, sort of in that little area on Wednesday night, which is a great night because, as you may know, Wednesday nights during the summer at the Pearl, they have the Sound Cream DJ booth parties, and that brings out a lot of people. So, you know, that'll be a good Wednesday night for the book signing, and so I'm looking forward to that. And there's a couple of other book signing events coming up in hopefully in the future. I know there's going to be one in July in Monte Vista over at the Kathleen Sommers retail store, I believe, and yeah, that'll be a lot of fun too.
So now that you got like a lot of positive feedback from that, I gotta think like you're probably gonna do another book at some point, right?
I don't know, man. That's I don't know. I mean, I wasn't, when I started the Humans of San Antonio project, I wasn't doing it with the intention that a book would come of it,
Yeah.
So, hey, if there's another project that comes to mind and I feel passionate about and I execute 110%, maybe I'll have that thought now. Maybe this can be another book, and kind of see what happens. But I'm not, I'm not someone who is in the business of producing books. That's not what my passion is. My passion is to become the best photographer I can be, and I'm grateful that Trinity wanted to publish a book of photographs that I've collected in downtown San Antonio.
So then what would be maybe, I guess, the next big photography project then for you?
I love being able to visually tell a story. There's so many stories that need to be told. On a more serious note, the immigration policy right now. There's just so many different stories that need to be heard, and to be able to do that effectively with a camera, with images, can really bring change to the world. I think people can definitely can see and feel from a powerful image, and I hope that I can focus on a project like that in the future. I've spent some time in a colonia south of Laredo. I spent a couple of weeks there with a immigrant family whose parents migrated to Texas illegally and from Central America, and it was great. My Spanish isn't that great, but it was awesome that they sort of let me into their lives. I was Googling one day colonias, and I became inspired by people who live in colonia, the conditions that people are living in colonias in South Texas and West Texas. And so I contacted the University of Texas A&M San Antonio to see if they had any information for me as to where I could go to visit a colonia. And they provided me with some information. They were very helpful. And so I just decided to, get my Jeep and drive down to Laredo and visit some colonias. And I encountered a family there who was willing to let me into their lives for the next 2 weeks. And so I practically lived with this family. I actually stayed at a friend's house to stay the night, but early in the morning I was there, right there in the morning, and I stayed with them all the way till I would say 9-10 o'clock at night. Just there with my camera. We weren't communicating too much, but the whole point of it was for them to just do their thing and for me to capture their daily activities as candid, as natural as possible. And I actually have that body of work on my website. And so, I want to continue exploring those stories in Texas. And, would it be great if those projects turned into a book? Absolutely. It'd be all about that. But, these are passion projects that I'm doing. And, I'm doing it for myself, and I'll share these projects with some of my close friends. They're on my website if somebody wants to check it out. But these are projects that I like to talk about with friends and family. I mean, I'm not really reaching out to local media to share, what I did in Laredo for 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So,
do you have any other passion projects?
I have one other one. I've been spending past year or so, maybe 2 years, I've been spending some time with Rose, and she is a retired woman who owns a ranch in South Texas, and she provides an after-school program for young women in the community who are looking to be a part of something important, something meaningful. And part of her program is she teaches young women how to take care of horses. A lot of these horses that she has on her ranch have been abused horses that she is rehabilitating, and once they become horses that are tamed and ready for riding, she also teaches the women how to become escaramuza riders, which is an old school Mexican way of horseback riding. And so I've been documenting that with photography, for the past year, maybe 2 years, and I've been learning a lot about that program just by observing and getting to know some of the girls who participate in the program. And of course, Rose has become a good friend of mine. And I think those kinds of stories in San Antonio are just as important as any other story.
What and you sort of touched on this already, but what attracts you? Because all your projects seem to be like of the range of like deep stories or people helping people or things or horses, but they're all like what one would maybe deem meaningful or like positive, like there's usually someone being helped in that. Like, what attracts you to want to tell those stories?
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there. When I think about people living in colonias, there's some really tough situations that people have been living in, and I guess it's just a natural interest that I have. I don't know where it really comes from, but maybe it's a combination of things I read online, and just as I've gotten older, I've become more interested in like the human condition. I did spend 2 years studying abroad in Thailand, and I spent a lot of time in Mexico growing up as a kid. As when my dad got remarried to his second wife. She grew up in Mexico in a poor neighborhood, and my dad would take us to Mexico all the time when I was in elementary school and middle school to visit her family. I can't tell you how many New Year's Eves I've spent in Mexico, in Tampico, especially with her and her family. And that was such an incredible experience for me growing up as a kid because coming from like a middle class neighborhood, going and spending your Christmas holidays in Mexico in a poor neighborhood and stuff like that. I don't know. I just I really enjoyed those experiences, and I felt like I was part of something special. But as I grew older, I started to see more about and learn more about the conditions, that some of my stepmom's family and friends were living in, and I don't know, I just became interested in poor communities because I feel like if we could better understand them as a whole, if the world can better understand some of the conditions people are living in, then I think we could have better policies and better government and have a better society, just in general. I mean, everybody knows this, but I feel like I'm doing my part when I photograph someone and try to ask them a few questions about their life and share that with the world to experience. And that that was part of the fruits of the labor with the Humans of San Antonio project. So where all that kind of came from, I would have to say just childhood, just my parents, introducing me to different lifestyles, visiting Mexico. And then, when I was in college, I spent time in Thailand and got to learn about people's ways of life there. I don't know. I just felt like, I just love diversity. I love culture, and, I want to tell important stories that I've discovered within those communities, because because it's just fun for me, and I feel like I'm making an impact at the same time. So, it's more of a personal impact. I'm not submitting these stories to big media, companies or Nat Geo or anything like that. I'm just really just doing it for myself. And, every once in a while, I'll maybe get the opportunity to have a gallery exhibition, here in San Antonio. And I've been able to do that. And that was, a lot of fun.
I know I lived here for a long time. I'm not the most educated, especially when it comes to downtown San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at like Central right now, right? Central? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Well, right now, we're in the urban core. Right now, we're in the middle of downtown.
Well, I meant like the company.
Oh, the Kincho. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So
because I was gonna ask like what is Central and like what are your duties there? I know
Oh,
you're a
I see.
photographer.
Okay.
But.
Yeah. So I work for Centro San Antonio, and I'm the staff photographer and videographer. And I work for Centro San Antonio, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to downtown advocacy. And so part of my job is to tell the stories of downtown visually with photos and video stories. And the goal of that is to create curiosity, belief, and pride in downtown. Downtown is a very special place, and I discovered that with the Humans of San Antonio project. And it's just really, it's a lot of fun for me because I'm going from pretty much doing the same thing. I mean, Humans of San Antonio, shared very similar missions and values as the company I work for today. And so I feel really lucky that I get to, continue to do that for Centro San Antonio, which is also all about showcasing what is unique about downtown. And what is unique about downtown is its diversity and the people who make downtown special. So, I'm having a lot of fun with that.
I never got to dive deep into downtown San Antonio because in the beginning of my first year, I just wasn't doing, I wasn't just travel. I was just trying to even get used to even living in San Antonio, coming from New York. But once I became a musician around here, there's almost next to none like opportunities for us here. So I almost never had a reason because even whether I was playing or other friends, it's almost always at the Strip or just other areas of San Antonio. It's never here. It's rarely here, So I just never had a chance really to explore it because my arts were never just embraced here. I always felt that's one of the advantages Austin had in that you'll have, because what there are here is a lot of DJ in terms of music. There's a lot of DJs and there's a lot of cover bands and stuff. And Austin with 6th Street and beyond, the 4th, the 7th, all that stuff, you get all of them, but they're all smushed. So no matter what you want, they're all going to intermingle and people will stumble onto whatever. And even though I hear this is one of the great tourist cities, I always felt that was we're never going to cross paths with those people and vice versa because we're separated. They would have to be like, I love diving into cities, and they would have to leave downtown, to stumble onto us. That's why. So I hardly still know anything about this place. So even coming here, I was like, I'm GPSing, even though I've lived here for over 10 years, So. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the times locals, when they think of downtown, they think of St. Mary's Strip or, some of the surrounding neighborhoods. The Pearl Brewery, a lot of locals refer to the Pearl Brewery being part of the downtown area.
So that is
Southtown being part of the downtown area.
But the Pearl isn't? I would almost, in my head it is. I don't know if it is really, but.
Technically, I think it's Midtown. The Pearl Brewery is, adjacent to Government Hill, not technically in the downtown area, but for the most part, when you're just generally speaking about downtown San Antonio, the Pearl Brewery can be included in that conversation. As with, Southtown, the Blue Star Arts District, growing up as a kid, Blue Star Arts, that was downtown, but technically it's in Southtown, which is south of downtown. So I guess it's just a matter of perspective. But, I think for the urban core, right smack in the middle of downtown Houston Street, I think there are lots of initiatives right now, and there's lots of motivations right now to bring all kinds of arts and culture to the downtown to the urban core areas of downtown. And for any artist, and I hope that people continue to support arts in downtown, because it's important for the community. It creates opportunities for artists to become who they want to be and share their work with all of San Antonio. And that will happen as long as there's support for the arts in downtown San Antonio. And we've seen a lot more of it in the downtown area. It's just a matter of time.
Where do you think? Because even living here as long as I've been here since '03, but like I feel like lately you can finally see it. Like, oh, all right, things are finally changing. Like we're no longer being left behind. We ain't there yet, but like things are coming here that maybe should have been here, or like it's just from a music point. Like there's a lot of famous artists coming here in the last 2 years that never have come through here unless it was that festival like Maverick or something. But now they just come here literally on their tours, So, and there's other things too beyond that. I'm obviously music focused, but like there's technology too. There's more technology companies coming here and everything. So where you see San Antonio going in the future?
Well, I think it's just going to continue to get better. San Antonio is a great place to be right now. It's affordable. The arts community is developing. It's continuing to grow, and it's continuing to spread in San Antonio. I mean, look, there's so much has changed. I mean, the White Rabbit going to Paper Tiger, and with the new programming that has taken place at Paper Tiger, they're bringing acts to San Antonio that we've never had in San Antonio before.
And the Live Nation here too at I can't remember their theater. The theater escapes me for some reason, but yeah, Live Nation. Like Libby works there. I can't remember.
Live Nation, the Aztec Theater.
That one. That's it.
The Tobin. Now we have a Tobin Center. One of state of the art.
Nas played there last year. That shocked me.
I mean, we have all kinds of artists that have come to San Antonio. I mean, it's only going to get better. And I think for those who are sticking it out are really going to enjoy all of the benefits that this transitional period will bring in the next 5 to 10 years.
All right, so I got these life questions that I ask everybody.
Sure.
And then we can wrap it up.
Nice.
So the first one is what's one thing you believe that other people think you're crazy for believing?
That world peace is possible. One thing for sure is if we continue to think that peace is not possible, then there will never be peace. I think as the world becomes more global, I mean, globalization has already taken place, but as the world becomes more connected, like you've seen with the internet and social media channels, everything is becoming so connected. And I think that's a good thing. Hopefully it is a good thing, because as people get to know each other better, I think we'll be able to be more accustomed to people's differences, and therefore not, freak out when you see something different or experience something that you don't agree with. We'll see what happens. That's my prediction. The mentality that if sometimes you hear a mentality where someone might feel like they don't need to vote in Texas because Texas is always Republican. It's always like, my vote doesn't count, my vote doesn't matter. I think it's really important to change those types of mentalities in order for there to be a better place for everyone.
I think because I've been guilty of saying that in the past too, and I think that comes from the presidential standpoint. Mm-hmm. But it becomes less and less true as you go to locals, and that's where the vote becomes more meaningful at the local level. But a lot of us, as we get lost in our day-to-day lives, we tend to forget about the local stuff because they don't come with the same hype that comes with a presidential election.
Yeah, that's true. I'd agree with you. Your local government is going to have much more of an impact on your life than the federal administration is going to have, not just not even the state level is going to have more of an impact. Your state federal government, is going to have more of an impact on our daily lives. So it's important to participate and get out there and vote. Otherwise, you don't have much of a say in terms of what kind of government you'd like to see in your city.
I'm starting to see more and more of that. Some of the people I bring on, I think 2 guests before you, she's someone I've known since school, but and she's a musician too, but she's definitely like spends a lot of her time. She's pretty much just becoming her own advocate, to try to change things because she don't like the way things are in Texas, so or have become, so that she's trying to change it back, and she's putting in her own free time, taking days off just to try to make that happen,
I mean, I don't know if people think world peace is crazy, right? Too crazy of an idea right now. I don't know.
I think people would think it's crazy just because it's never happened, right?
Yeah.
Like at 100% world peace. But at the same time, you can argue that even if it's not our lifetime, it should be possible, because even though the news will always be negative, because I guess that's necessary, right? For ratings or whatever it might be. But I think you hear this time and time again, if you look hard enough, because it's not on the news normally. I think we're in the most peaceful time like ever in the history of mankind. There's less people dying right now from us as humans, like me doing something to you. Like there's probably a number of diseases and even things like accidents that kill more humans than a human by human death, So this is, like, at this point in time, the most peaceful time. And if it's been going that way, who's to say it doesn't keep going that way till one day we finally hit 100% world peace,
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I hope to see less wars and less world wars. So, I think it's going to come to voting, and hopefully, as we evolve as a species, we become less greedy and we make better decisions for the community and the world as a whole.
So this next question, I wouldn't be surprised if I asked it to you a long time ago. And you've kind of touched on it with other things I've asked, but this is my classic question I used to ask everybody. What is your goal in life?
My goal in life is to become a working photographer, a professional photographer, a good photographer. A photographer you can count on to capture the right moments for whatever need someone may have, become. But yeah, man. I mean that's pretty much it. That's my. But I think a lot about photography because that's what I've been doing the past. 6, 7, 8 years. Well, I would say more like 6 years, but it feels like it's been longer than that because that's pretty much all that I do every day. But I mean, I have other goals too. I want to continue to develop in my education and continue to grow as an individual and be a better member to society. I think I think that's should be part of everyone's goals. but yeah.
And for the photography one, it seems like you kind of made that true already. So you're living that now too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, every time I wake up, and go to work, it's like, wow, I'm like living the dream. It's so crazy. I couldn't ask. I mean, what more do we really need? You figure out what it is you're passionate about, you get there, and it's like, it's important to let that sit in for a bit and be like, wow, and think, and then maybe think about the future later. You gotta take in these moments and see what comes of it, as time goes on.
What are 3 things you're thankful for in life?
I'm really thankful for having food and shelter. Growing up, I think having lived in different countries, I feel like man, I was just so lucky to be able to have that. I'm also thankful for the love that my family has been able to provide me, and I'm thankful for the for my health, and the I have the ability still to walk and take photographs, and so those are all things that I'm really thankful for right now.
Where you see yourself 3 years in the future?
In 3 years from now, I mean, I see myself here in San Antonio, continuing to work hard and become the best photographer I can be. I really don't see myself doing anything else other than that right now in the next 3 years, for
Focus.
sure. Yeah, laser focus, man. It's been like that for a long time, and it's hopefully, and it's been working out. So I'm going to continue with that strategy and see what else it can bring.
What is the perfect day for you?
The perfect day is just being able to, real simple, man. I don't need a whole lot to be happy, as long as I have my health and I can go about my daily activities. That is the perfect day, man, for me. Absolutely.
It's probably and it's not bad at all, but that's probably one of the most simplest ones I've ever gotten. I got someone who gave me, I'll never forget his, but he gave me it time by time. He gave me timestamps for his day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, because I was like, damn, this guy's he's thinking about that. But here's the last one. It's a 3-parter though, but it's called I Like, I Wish, I Wonder, right? But it's for the last year of your life. You like that you did, you wish you had done, you wonder what would have happened if. And I can ask them one by one as you answer them. I like that I did, but for just the last year of your life.
I like that I took some time off a little bit last year to visit some state parks here in Texas. Went out to Reimer's Ranch for the first time last year, and that was really awesome. Shout out to my boy Eddie for introducing me to Reimer's Ranch. Great place for a short hike. Very tropical, very scenic area in Texas. A lot of, you get there and you're like, wow, like this place exists in Texas. It's really crazy. And it's only like an hour and a half northeast. Northeast from here. So what's the next one?
I wish I had done.
I wish I had spent more time with family. Last year, in the past, I've been so laser focused with photography and obsessed with it, just wanting to become better and better constantly. I still do that today, always critiquing my work and comparing my work to others and trying to learn from photographers who I think are much, much better than me, because I hope to reach that level one day as well.
Yeah, I feel like I've been guilty of the same thing, and sometimes we choose these passions over the family, and you spend less and less time with them, which is good and bad, but I mean, yeah, every now and then I'm like, damn,
No, for sure. Sure.
I wonder what would have happened if.
Man, I wonder what would have happened if I stayed in Europe and not moved back to San Antonio. I think about this actually a lot. To be honest with you, I really had no plans on coming back to San Antonio. So after Thailand, I earned an academic scholarship to study in Leiden, which is a small town south of Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, where I was studying at Webster University, and was on the verge of graduating. I had all my things in line. I already landed a job. I was working at a restaurant, and part of the graduation process is, Webster University would grant you would pay for your work visa, and also help you find a job in the Netherlands. And so, but I decided to come back to San Antonio because I was in love with this girl, and I was in one of those long distance relationships, and I was a pretty young guy at the time. So But I made those decisions. I made the decision to come back to San Antonio for that reason, and things didn't work out. But I always wonder though, man, what if I had made that decision to stay in Europe? Like, I would have never. I don't know if I'd become a photographer. I don't know if I'd ever.
Life change.
It's complete life change, man. Like, I don't know what would have happened for sure. Hopefully some good things, man.
At the same time, it doesn't matter because you chose this one.
Yeah.
But where can the people find you online?
Yeah, so if people want to take a look at some of the work I've done, you can go to my website. It's michaelcirlos.com. My last name is Cirlos, michaelcirlos.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Humans of SA. But you can also find me. There's the Humans of San Antonio Facebook page. You can look for me there. But if you want to follow some of the things Centro San Antonio is doing, you can follow us at Downtown SATX on Instagram, and also Centro San Antonio on Instagram. Be sure to check out the new downtown website, downtownsa.org. You'll find lots of interesting stories about the urban core you probably never knew. And also there's a bunch of available parking in downtown. A lot of people think there's no parking, but there's plenty of parking. You just have to go and make an effort, and all that parking information is on the downtown website, which is really helpful. We didn't have, the downtown sa.org website before, but now we do. And so it's even easier to locate parking if you want to come to the urban core.
So it's on that website?
Yeah.
Because literally that's one of the number one things I tell people when I have to come downtown. That's why I was laughing, because and it's, again, probably because of me being a musician, I am not scared of Austin at all, even during South by, because I've just been there so much. I know it. I know where to park. I'm like, you can't scare me. I'm going to find it, But here, I don't come here enough because there's no activity drawing me. So I'm like, the one time I do come every couple of months, I'm like, oh, damn it. Like, what do? I always just pray that it's next to Travis Park, because I do know that area and there's lots of parking there. But if it's not, I'm like, oh, man, what do I do? And I just drive around and hope I find something, But I'm gonna check that website. That could be
definitely check it out.
Life-changing resource for me right there.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And I've heard several times that it could be difficult to navigate in downtown. It gets kind of confusing, because our streets aren't set up like a grid system like it is in Austin.
Yeah.
But there is parking. There's very cheap parking too. You can get like $2 parking. You might have to walk 10 minutes, but that's what you would do anyways if you were to. You go to Austin. In fact, you probably have to pay $15 to park and still walk 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Keep in mind, I'm from New York. I haven't paid for parking in Austin probably since like I was a rookie, when I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I do walk. But I know a lot of people don't like walking here, but I don't care. I'm like,
no, walking's good, man. Yeah. It's nice to go for a little walk through the urban core. You might see something new you didn't discover before because you're always in the car.
Yeah, man, I just want to park my car. I don't care how far. I just want to park it.
People just need to park their car and just walk. Man.
Yeah, like, walking ain't that hard, man. Even at HEB, man, people fighting for that first place spot.
You need to exercise anyways.
Exactly. That's exact. I'm actually in the middle of losing weight, so you're not wrong. So But all right, man. Last words.
No, man. It's just been great. Thanks for having me on this podcast.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to checking it out later.
All right, man. Thanks for doing it. All right, man. Bake that chicken, smoke that turkey. Boosh. We out.